Today I'm gonna be testing TikTok viral dessert recipes. So for this recipe, I'm gonna be making an air fryer apple pie, which sounds so good. And honestly, it's just a few ingredients, so it should be pretty simple. We're gonna start by cutting our apple in half and then taking out the core. This is a hazard. I might have cut into that one a little bit too much. That's okay. Oh my gosh, I broke it. I broke the apple already. Think I need a new apple? Okay, we got a new apple. I'm gonna try a different technique of kind of scooping out the middle with a spoon. Okay, so this part's a little harder than I anticipated it to be. Okay, and I'm using Honeycrisp apples for this because they're my personal favorite, but I think anything would probably work. Apple Crisp are just a little bit sweeter. Why is it unreasonably difficult for me? I think that's good. We've got like a little bit of a dip so we can put our little oat, oh my gosh, our little oat filling in it. Okay, we'll get rid of all the innards. Okay, now that the apple's all ready, I'm gonna work on the filling. Okay, for the filling, we're gonna start with some oats. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon, or a lot. I did about a half teaspoon of cinnamon and about a half cup of oats. Now I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of melted butter, and you know, her recipe doesn't call for this, but I'm born and raised in the South, so I need to add butter to literally everything. I just think it'll be a good combo. I'm also going to add a touch to the apples because she said to put a little bit of oil on them, and I do use butter instead of oil. Oop. Spread that butter around, looks kind of gross. Then I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup. I make something similar to this normally, but I like cut up the apples and cook the apples before, which takes forever. So I'm hoping that this is like a nice quick version of that. I'm probably using about half a tablespoon of maple syrup. That looks perfect. Spoon this mixture on top of the apples. Just kind of fill up the center. All right, 1/2 done. It smells so good, super sweet and cinnamony. I think this is gonna turn out great. It really reminds me of like the baked apples I would make when I was a kid, which those had like sugar and raisins and all that stuff in them. So I think this will be an even better version. All right, I'm gonna plop these in my little air fryer oven and we'll be back. All right, our little air fryer apple pies are done and they smell so good. They literally do smell like an apple pie. And while they look perfect like this, I'm gonna follow the recipe and I'm gonna plop a little bit of yogurt on each of them. But it would be so good with either ice cream or whipped cream. This is just what I'm gonna use today. Just as I'm saying I don't really like yogurt. Just some little dollops. All right, now the moment of truth. It looks beautiful, but is it more than just a pretty face? Okay, so it's firmer than I thought it would be. Whoa, everything just fell apart. I cooked it for probably about 25-30 minutes. I do have an air fryer oven, so I don't know if that like affects the amount of time you're supposed to cook it for, but I'm gonna try it anyway. That's totally cooked enough. It's just like, for some reason, it's a little hard to cut through. That's delicious. It's like super, I feel like I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full. It's like super cinnamony, very like subtly sweet. You get like most of like the sweetness and flavor from the apple. So I would recommend Honeycrisp. But that's delicious. That's like a perfect, super easy, just like healthy dessert or snack. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm gonna give that an 8.5 out of 10. I'm gonna be testing the TikTok viral 2-ingredient donut recipe. Well, it'll be 3 for me because I do not have self-raising flour, so I'm going to add some leavening. I'm gonna start with a 1/2 cup of gluten-free flour and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Just combine those two. And then I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. Then I'm gonna do my best to combine it in the bowl, but I think I do need to knead it to make it all sort of come together after. I'm really curious to see how this works because I cannot personally eat gluten, so I'm trying to make this recipe gluten-free. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So you're gonna come along with me to see how it turns out. I think I'm gonna try and knead it now. It's looking a little bit crumbly. Oh wow, I don't know what I was expecting from the texture, but it's very moist. I'm distracted now. It's like sticking so much to my hands. But hopefully kneading it just helps it fully just kind of clump together. I don't know. Sometimes I will say in gluten-free baking, you do have to add a little bit more moisture than you would in conventional recipes. Smells like yogurt. I think I just got some in my hair. I'm really curious to see if these end up tasting like yogurt. As I learned in my last video, I don't think I really like yogurt, so I hope they don't taste like yogurt. Now I'm just going to roll the dough into just little kind of donut holes. That looks nice. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so now I'm gonna make a little bit of an egg wash to brush over them so they get nice and golden. A few more than 2 ingredients, but that's okay. All right, I'm just gonna like whisk this up a little bit. We're just gonna take a little bit of this on each one, just so they get nice and golden brown. If this works, I feel like that's incredible. These are like the easiest, fastest donuts ever. But we'll see, it feels a little too good to be true. All right, we're gonna plop these in the air fryer. I'm not sure for how long because the recipe doesn't specify, but I'll let you know after they're done how long they took. Okay, so the toppings are where you can get a little bit creative. In that video, she covered hers in cinnamon sugar and then drizzled on some chocolate, but I wanna try to make a little bit of like a white chocolate glaze. I'm just a white chocolate girly. So I put probably not even an ounce of white chocolate in this bowl. This white chocolate in particular is no sugar added because I can't eat refined sugars, but if you can, literally anything will work. I'm gonna make like a lazy, thin ganache. Probably about a tablespoon of heavy cream. Okay, we have our little white chocolate glaze done. And look how cute the little donut holes turned out. They look like they're like a really good texture, like they like puffed up a bit. Just gonna dip that in there, get a little roll. And we have our perfectly glazed little donut hole. Now, if this tastes anything like a donut, that's the coolest thing ever because this has all been so easy and so quick. It's interesting because they like smell like butter, even though there's not any butter in the recipe. They look really good to me. They look a little bit like a little piece of bread with some glaze on it. Let's see how they taste. That's the most important part. For some reason, I'm nervous. Now, it could be the gluten-free flour that's maybe making it like a little bit, like it's cooked, but it's a little bit doughy. And it does taste a little bit just like bread. It doesn't have that like light, fluffy donut texture, which kind of makes sense because that's from yeast. I think it kind of gets the job done. I think it could satiate that kind of craving for a donut if you have these ingredients at home and don't want to go out and get a regular donut. It's just kind of dense and a little bit plain like this, but honestly, like bread is bread. Any bread's good bread, let's be honest with ourselves. So it's still like a solid 6.5 out of 10. I'd say. Like I'll eat them for sure. Don't have to ask me twice. I'm gonna be testing the super viral date bark to see if it lives up to the hype. All right, first I'm gonna start by pitting these dates. There's the pit. It honestly just looks like a nut. Honestly, dates taste so good by themselves that I feel like this recipe can't be bad. I'm gonna make a very small batch because I don't need too much. I'll refrain from going on my date rant. Okay, I'm going for it. Dates, super healthy, super sweet, super delicious. Sometimes it stresses me out though when I see somebody eat like 10 at a time because I think from my understanding, if they're not the highest, they're one of the highest foods on the glycemic index, which just means they have a lot of like natural sugars in them and they definitely can affect blood sugar. So when I see somebody eat like one of the caramel apples covered in dates, I don't know why it makes me nervous because it's like, it could be up to like 150 grams of natural sugars, which I love a natural sugar, but you still do have to be careful with them. Just like anything, like any kind of sugars, natural, you know, some processed sugars, you just enjoy it all in moderation. But yeah, dates are very, very sugary sweet. That's why they're so freaking good. All right, I'm just going to flatten. And I am using a Stanley tea thermos because I have a beautiful rolling pin that Bobby's grandmother gave to me, but it's too pretty for use like this. So I don't have just an everyday rolling pin. It's too pretty and too special, so I use my tea Stanley cup. I really have to put some elbow grease into this. I will say dates do look like smashed cockroaches. Yeah, just smushed them together. They're just like huge caramely raisins. I used to sit in front of the TV as a child with a little box of raisins. Now some people use peanut butter here. I prefer almond butter, so. All right, just a little thin coat of that. I have high hopes for this one. I feel like this is gonna turn out really good. Now I'm just gonna melt some no sugar added chocolate and layer that on top. All right, now I'm just gonna do a little bit of a chocolate drizzle. All right, I think that's good. Now I'm just gonna plop it in the freezer for probably just like 10 minutes. I feel like this chocolate will harden up really, really fast. All right, I just pulled this out of the freezer. It really didn't take much time at all and the chocolate is completely solid. All right, I'm kind of just gonna slice into it. Piper, no. It looks great. It smells delicious. I really just smell almond butter, which is delicious. I'm gonna give it a go. I love dates. Dates are so good also because it's been in the freezer for a few minutes. It's like more like solid and it is so good. Oh, that's delicious. I get why people are eating like 20 dates at a time. The combination between the chocolate and the almond butter and the date, it's like the perfect salty and sweet because got a little bit of salt from the almond butter. The dark chocolate's like a little bit sweet, a little bit bitter. And then you just have that chewy sweet date. This is the perfect, like healthy dessert, snack, an easy 9 out of 10, I think. Fully approve of this one. Okay, those are all the recipes that I'm gonna be trying today. Let me know which one you think looks the best and which one you'd try. And if you liked this video, please subscribe for more content like it, and I'll see you next time.